Hello everyone, this is Rona Palmer from eMaint Enterprises, and thanks for joining us today for this month's Best Practices webinar and taking time out of your busy day. And I'm really pleased to have with me today Boyd Helm, who is the maintenance manager of Cardinal CG plant in Beaufort, Georgia. And he's also an eMaint customer, and he's going to be sharing a case study of the results that he achieved over the past 18 months since he implemented a CMMS at Cardinal Glass. And just a little background about Boyd. He started his career in maintenance in 1976, and he's been in management since 1983, working for an HVAC manufacturer. And his experience with CMMS systems started in 1991 while he was managing maintenance planning and scheduling for over 235 techs for Intercity Products, who does Heil heating and cooling. And then I understand he spent about 10 years in the automotive sector with Ford Warner, helping them achieve ISO certification. And he's been a member of the Vibration Institute since 1997. And in 2004, he did his own consulting business for about 4 years, helping people select and implement CMMS systems, and did that through 2008 till he joined Cardinal Glass in October of 2008, when at that time they had a 15% downtime, and the rest, as they say, is history. So, Boyd, are you with me today on the line?
Yes, Rona. Good afternoon.
Okay, well, yeah, good afternoon to you. And Boyd, I'm really glad that you could you agreed to do this today. So, Boyd, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, well, thank you, Rhonda. First, we'd like to take the opportunity to thank everyone that's participating today and welcome you. And I would like to thank eMaint for allowing me to share our team's success story. And with that said, Cardinal has afforded me the opportunity to share that with everyone that's registered today. So as we start, we're talking about the road to profitability. Again, I'm the maintenance manager for Cardinal Glass in Beaufort, Georgia location. We have about 12 members in our team, and you might find the results of what's going on very interesting at the end of it. We'll cover that. But as we go to our next slide here, I'll give you a slide overview about our company background, talk a little bit about me, and then the situation we were faced with at the beginning of October 2008 when I joined the company, and then the system challenges that came about when I first pushed up a existing CMMS system, and I'll share that with you after a while. But then I'll talk about our search and show you the results, and talk about some future goals that we have, and then we'll open it up for questions and answers. One thing that's very important, I want out of everything you may get out of this today, as related to what ties back to eMaint, and again, any tool that you have, just compare this to the current tool or CMMS you're using, and hopefully you will see the benefits, or see some benefits that this might be able to help you. But with the implementation of the eMaint program X3 that I am using at my facility, it was completely left up to me, and everything went without a hitch. But you have to keep in mind that I've had a background using CMMS since 1991. I had total control of the time frame for the implementation, so I commend the staff at eMaint for providing quality service after the sale. But this is just a very useful tool, and I'm going to show you the results that we have. Let me share about the background of our company. Cardinal Glass was founded in 1962 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We have about 5,500 employees in 29 locations. We have recently opened up a third solar facility in Menominee, Minnesota. Wisconsin, where we are running glass that most of and every bit of it ships to Malaysia. But we design and fabricate residential glass products for windows and doors, and we are the leader in the industry for a high superior product. We are also the leader in the industry in being energy efficient, where we pay close control to reducing energy costs, and we've seen up to 20% savings in that area. Our divisional structure, we have a Cardinal IG plants throughout the company and around the, and I'll show you a map where these are all placed, but where we make insulated glass. We have a laminated plants. We have 5 float plants and tempered plants. Now our float plants have run 7 years without being shut down for maintenance. So that's very challenging, as everyone out there would know, about coming across a good CMMS. Now, not all of them are using eMaint. Currently, I'm the champion of that in our company and hoping to spread it across eventually. But we are being very successful here at Cardinal CG facility, where we are a unique plant in itself because we actually temper and coat glass. I know a lot of people aren't familiar with glass tempering, but if you've seen safety glass, we temper glass so that when you break it, it shatters into small pieces and not big shards that are dangerous. And then we have a $20 million coating operation in our facility that can give you all the different various coatings that might help you be energy efficient. Some of our customers, and you'll find most of these products in your local supply house, hardware, different areas there, are listed here as Anderson and Pella, Jell-Wynn, Marvin, Atrium, Simonton. These are all big players in the residential glass business as our customers. And you can see how on the next slide here where our plants, how they're located. They're kindly logistically placed throughout the country, because you can imagine not only is it a challenge to transfer glass, you have the concern of breaking it in transportation. We ship glass in A-frame racks that weigh about 20,000 pounds a rack. So we have, this reflects 28 plants, and we, again, I'll remind you that we have 29. Cardinal CG, the CG really stands for coated glass throughout our organization. Cardinal Glass in Beaufort has both the coating and tempering division, as I spoke of before. But here's what is unique about this particular facility, and maybe is unlike others that you may see. We have 2 separate profit centers as far as the business side of it. We have 2 separate production teams and managers and that support all of that, quality groups. We have separate maintenance teams that include separate managers, planners, schedulers, suppliers, technicians. It's like 2 separate companies within the same walls. And all our systems that we use are separate. Our assets are listed separately and accounted for separately. So it's really 2 different divisions under one roof and 2 different profit centers. Rona kind of shared with you earlier about my background, and I'll just briefly review that again. But I've got about 25 plus years experience in maintenance management. Worked with York International and Howell Quaker over the years. With York, I managed 23 technicians. We had 2,800 employees with Howell Quaker and 235 technicians that I was a facility maintenance engineer that would do all the planning and scheduling. My real experience in CMMS include MP2. I had a DOS-based program I used for years that was qualified under ISO and Ford Q1 in the automotive industry. And one of the biggest things that I found that's helped the overall management of maintenance is being part of the Vibration Institute and what impact reliability maintenance has made and the changes over the years of how easily it is to implement. My automotive background was about 10 years with Borg Warner, and we made medium and heavy engine cooling fans for Ford, GM, Chrysler, Sterling trucks, and those type big rigs. Some of the fans weighed 320 pounds. We did a lot of injection molding. And then I spent about 5 years after Borg Warner as an independent consultant working in Alabama with a company implementing a CMMS system, and was afforded the opportunity to join Cardinal Glass in 2008 of October. Well, when I came in, the first thing I realized some of my initial challenges in the temper division that I'm now over. There was no real maintenance organization. Work orders were word of mouth. Inventory management was not in place. There was a lack of parts. We're in the run to failure mode, but we're walking around every day fighting fires, and didn't really realize that until we started putting some initial measurements in place. There wasn't anything in place, and so everything we did from day one in October 2008 and moving forward has allowed us to promote and show that our success as a team here at Cardinal. And I want to impress upon that fact that this is not only about what Boyd Helm has done, but this could not have happened without a total commitment from my team and all those that work with me and for me, and the culture change that had to take place in order to make all this happen. There were really no reports and what were being produced out of the old CMMS that was used on the other side of the facility. There was not any reports really being read or tracked. No one would take the data, chart the data. When I began to collect all the information, it didn't take but about the first 25 to 30 days to realize where we were at on downtime. When I presented the number at 15% downtime, there were a lot of people starting to raise their eyebrows and paying attention as to what I was trying to do. You have to remember, they're in a run to failure mode, and we're having to promote change and have a complete culture change from that attitude to wanting to become, get to a predictable measure and a reliability measure. There was no way to research the history. Everything was just notes on paper, very disorganized, no files in place. And one of the major things that we had facing us were safety challenges and issues. The first 90 days I was here, we had 3 serious injuries, lost time accidents, and so that within a week, the first thing I do would hold daily meetings, 5-minute safety talks. That was the first topic. Anytime I held a meeting as a team, the first subject of the day was safety. If I didn't start the meeting out that way, my technicians had the opportunity and authority to stop me and say, hey, you overlooked safety. So that's where everything starts. Those numbers are also in play. We are currently at we have a goal to reach 1,000 days of since our last lost time accident. March 12th, 2008 was our last one, and we're currently at about 949 days and approaching that 1,000 days. So, everything, there was things in place here, but there was no one really directing it. They had a very highly skilled technician, and they just told him, well, here it is, you run it, and he's a key personnel to the operation, and he was just covered up, and but he was doing everything he can do, but it takes a lot of things had to happen in order to make these things turn around. So I decided it was time to get started, and first thing I did was to establish baseline for measurements. I came up with the Uptime Formula, and I pulled that out of one of the books I use. It's a very valuable tool with me over the years. Was called Installing TPM. I guess I can plug that in a non-Japanese facility, and if anyone's interested in that book or asking questions about it, you can talk to me offline on it. But in there it has a lot of different formulas to include mean time between failure and OEE and different formulas, and I'm slowly pushing those up. We did not know in this facility what our cost of downtime was or what the burden rate was, so the first thing I had to do was approach accounting and start asking a lot of questions. You know, can you tell me what it costs to run this line for 1 hour? And when you're down, tell me what it costs you. And no one could give me those numbers, so together we came up with the numbers and put those as part of our measurement. Now, the problem with change and promoting change is everyone has the fear of the unknown. So communications are very valuable in order to be successful in creating change. And I was afforded the opportunity to work for one of my plant managers for 17 years who was constantly promoting change and challenging change. So I kind of brought that into my skill set, and I'm a big person and supportive of change. So with that, I brought in measurements. We would have daily production meetings and grant you in some days at 15% downtime. Now that I kind of pushed the numbers before them, there was a lot of days that I really didn't feel confident to go into the production meetings because I knew they were going to nail us to the floor with issues that we hadn't taken care of and couldn't track and didn't overlook. And then I started after things started working again better, we established weekly meetings with production. So after the tools were starting to be put in place, things started getting better. But we were still not at the point where I was able to collect a lot of data because I didn't really have a system to implement. The other side of the facility, which was the coding department, was using MP2. So first thing I did to get started with something is I acquired a license and pushed up MP2 and began to use it. I entered all the assets that are responsible for in our department, started parts inventory and using work orders and established labor, and we just began tracking data. Here is one of the formulas that I use currently. We have gone away from talking about downtime to strictly talking about it in our uptime, because that's exactly what we want to be as a maintenance team. We want everything up and running. So here kind of shows you how we come up with the formula, and you'll see some of the numbers used in some attached slides. We take the uptime kind of equals the operating time minus the downtime times 100 divided by the operating time, and we are breaking that down into minutes. Well, some of the system challenges I faced with the MP2 that I implemented, and I'm not against any CMS or trying to promote any particular one, but every one of them has challenges, and I just want to share with you some of those that we had. Was the lack of configurability. It was a package that was sold. I couldn't make any changes without contacting outside support, and then there was an hourly rate to make any changes. They were very costly. And then there was a lack of support in some cases, was coordinating with the support team and making things happen in a timely manner. And the very bottom, number one issue that I had is that I couldn't produce any reports, particularly in the desired format that my boss had asked me to put it in. There wasn't any mobile connection. In other words, it wasn't tied to my Outlook and generating work orders to the iPhones or anything that we had in use. So the search for a system begins, and I have actually many years experience, as we shared before, about various CMMS systems out there, and very familiar with using the web, and I was able to actually go out and start doing a search looking for something that was out there now, what they call on the cloud. And there's a lot of issues, or people, first thing anyone wants to say is, I don't want my information out there on the cloud for anybody to see. Well, everything is protected. It's out there and shown to be very safe. And so what if somebody was to even look in there, what value would some of this be to them? They might end up, if in the case where I was at when I started, they probably would have felt sorry for me and called and give me a word of encouragement if they'd fallen into and saw what we were facing. But being web-based has now allowed CMMS to be more of affordable. In the past, a couple of companies I work with, a lot of these CMMS systems that are canned package that are sold to you are very high dollars. I'm talking $80,000 to $100,000 and more, particularly when you tie, the maintenance side in with the production side and scheduling. And we're currently going through that here in this facility on our scheduling and inventory. And they actually told me that they had that maintenance system in that package. And of course, when I looked at it, it was all a canned package, and it really did nothing for me. That's why I continued to move forward with the system that I'm currently using today. You're looking for something that's customizable. You can change your, as everyone knows that's in the maintenance background, there's we talk the talk, we use a different language in some cases, and we need to be able to change the database to fit our needs. We want to be able to generate reports. I have a lot of automated generated reports that come out, and I'll show you a couple of those here in the very next few slides. You're looking at something that's friendly, interface that you can push up for a high adoption or adaptation to time in and across all your other systems within your facility. You need something that's very easy in creating reports, and I'll show you some in the format that my boss likes. You want the ability to convert data from your current system and push it into an Excel spreadsheet, and you want to know about solutions, complete solutions by tracking your inventory and measuring condition monitoring. So these are some of the things that you need if you currently don't have a CMMS and are shopping for one. Well, after all my research, I actually went in and selected eMaint X3 CMMS, and I encourage each and every one of you looking to today attending to go out and kind of review that and look at what it is. There's excellent presentations out there by eMaint themselves that pretty much will show you anything you need to know to understand a CMMS and help you get started. It's very affordable. Any system out on the cloud out there today is very affordable compared to having to have your own server set up and IT person to help you make changes within there. I can virtually change any field on my screen within there. I can change reports, titles, field names, screens, anything I want to do. And sure, I can truly mess it up. But I've got a Steve Carbonetta with eMaint that I call on, and he takes care of me very quickly and works with me very well. So we have a good customer support there, and things are much easier instead of where you have to lay out a purchase order, make a change, schedule your time to do that. This particular tool that I'm using is so user-friendly, I can virtually do everything myself. There's an on-demand training. I can train all my shifts. I have a team meeting once a month, and when we initially pushed up our CMMS, I think what happens is people will buy CMMS, they'll come in and show it to the IT people and the maintenance manager, but they never really take it down to the technician level. And that's where failure comes with any CMMS. I mean, this particular one I'm using would fail if I didn't bring my team in and constantly review and show them what the data is to be and how to enter the data, and let's leave personalities out of it. And then I can take it across all shifts. One unique thing about a cloud CMMS, I could be at home, I can dial in onto the website, I can look at what's been completed for the night. I get stuff pushed to my iPhone when a work request is open. It comes immediately to my iPhone. I can key it from my iPhone, assign it, and push it on up as a work order. So there's a very strong, again, I'm not selling eMaint, but I'm showing you in the future slides here what impact it made for me and the tool, valuable tool that it is. It has robust reporting, writing, very user-friendly. I can export data into Excel spreadsheets, Word, whatever I need, PowerPoints with no issue. And I'm currently trying to expand my condition monitoring segment to include my vibration analysis data on. We run 500 horsepower motors, 600 horsepower motors that we've had a few failures prior to putting in a in-house vibration study and reliability maintenance side of the program. That's one of the major contributors that help us reduce our downtime. And then we have the eMaint X3 also has the purchasing inventory module. I'm not at this time using the purchasing module. We have one purchasing for 2 maintenance divisions within the building here, so I finally broke that out to where we do our own buying. We do everything in the tempering maintenance side. We have total control of our spending. We want to spend $200,000. We make it a group decision. We go to our boss and say, this is what we want to do, and it's done. But we have data now to present that supports what we want to do, and in most cases we're very rarely ever turned down. And again, on the eMaint, we have the ease of data conversion, and it's secure. It's very secure. So I put in some of my initial goals that put us on the road to success. We improved our safety measures. We changed the mindset from the run-to-failure mentality to the predictive, and now we're at the reliability mode. We established an uptime goal of, actually it was 94% when I began to measure. We found that was my goal after realizing that we were at 85%. So we just started plugging away and chipping away and looking at what went down, reviewing the data that the technician entered into, looking for repeat issues, and we started approaching all that one-on-one. And we use the data to support our decisions and actually lay out our plan for improvement. We also use the data to measure with and promote continuous improvement. And I've committed to ongoing training with my employees monthly and daily. And this particular tool, CMMS tool I use, I subscribe to what they call eMaint University, that actually lets you look at about any subject matter or video training that you would need. But in the implementation process, I was able to focus on a couple things. I implemented a daily safety meetings lasting from 5 to 15 minutes beginning at shift change. Improved the housekeeping within the facility. Started to organize things, find places for things, and use the 5S program. Everything has a place to keep it in it. Sure, we lack from day to day sometime, and we're never where I'd like to be on the housekeeping or safety, but we keep that thought in front of us and continue to work toward it. I implemented a 30-minute meeting daily between production and maintenance where my lead technician and I would go in and meet with quality and production, to review issues of the day, and begin to chart a course as to how to react. We actually went from a reactive maintenance mode to a predictive maintenance mode, and we are at a reliability maintenance mode currently, where our vibration analysis reveals to us when we're going to have a potential failure, and we act immediately upon that. So the data is very important. You could have any CMMS tool out there and use it, but if you're not getting the right data put in there, and you're virtually, it could fail. One thing we do in my primary background is in joy is working the predictive and reliability side. And we had a vibration, and this is very important about data. We had an outside source here that was providing vibration analysis, sending us a report when nobody was reviewing the reports. When I came in here and started reviewing the reports, I found out that the reports really didn't say anything. They were sure there was a after-the-fact report presented, but the data was nothing I could take and use. It didn't show me. It just had you have a potential failure of the bearing. It didn't even tell me what the reading was on the vibration. So I started challenging the outside source vendor to improve their reporting, and they just failed to do that. So I got together with my team, and we just took that challenge on ourselves, and got us a very good consultant that helps us, and through the Vibration Institute helps us to improve upon that and help us verify our data and facts. PM tracking, you know, one thing that's you have to be careful of in any CMMS system or preventive maintenance program is the paperwork. You know, maintenance technicians, they're not really thrilled about doing all the paperwork. OSHA always thought in the past that documentation is critical, and it is. We always thought in the past that the paper trail had to be there. Well, even today that CMMSs are so reliable, it can virtually be a paperless trail. OSHA recognizes the database because everything's time-stamped, therefore reducing your paper flow. Work requests, you know, tracking all those, again, all work requests fire into my iPhone. Repair work orders that are submitted and inventory, we now have those. My technicians will, if they're on a trouble call, they come and open and close the work order and plug the inventory parts in. We're not waiting on production to actually submit the work order. They just call with a trouble call, because my downtime tracking is by the minute. It's not by day or hours. I'm actually tracking by minutes. And 480 minutes in a shift, you can be in trouble real quick over a month in downtime situations. So, and I'm going to show you some data that where we're at, and show you how well we're doing. We're using the reports. I print out the reports. I review the reports. We analyze everything that's in there. And then we can take those numbers and justify expenditures, and we can show you the true cost of when it's time to continue maintaining, or when you can justify replacing the equipment because you have the facts. And that's one critical thing you need when you go to upper management. If you can present that data and show you that they're losing money, continue investing in it in parts, you can throw the data down on the table and you'll walk out of there with exactly what you went in for. You'll be satisfied. They'll be well pleased to help support you in that. So data is what CMMSs are all about. But it's only the data is only as good as what goes in, and if you can't get it out of there, it's a big black hole, and it's not any use to you. And that's where I was faced with the other CMMS that I had in the facility. I could put all the data in all day long, but nobody could extract it in reports without spending many, many dollars outside of the facility and requiring support. I can virtually write a report. My current CMMS has about 30 to 40 canned programs that I can update and change fields and pretty much make that do everything that I want it to do. And course, your CMMS will help you manage your labor, your resources, and it allows you to provide scheduling, and it's an effective, very effective communication tool. So I want to show you the results of what happened once we got in. We kind of met or exceeded all our initial goals and continue to do that as we speak. We reduced our downtime from a 15% in 2008 down to 0.8% last month, less than 1%. I actually had a staff of 12 when we came in here. We are currently running with a staff of 8. We became very efficient. We utilize skill sets upon what not everybody has to be the PLC programmer. Not everybody has to be the super technician. Just one of the key things is utilizing your skill set. And it's one thing I've always used in my career that helped me be very successful. We've been able to achieve key vendor certification, and we now have a report that takes me, my monthly report would take me up to 10 hours to generate. I can produce that in 10 minutes now and get it to my boss. Matter of fact, he called me one day and said, when you get a chance to get your monthly report, I need it a day early. Well, I had it within 15 minutes. Whereas before I would have panicked, shut my door, locked it, and went to work for about 8 or 10 hours to generate my report. So it's, again, it's a very valuable tool. One of the other things that we have seen, we've actually increased our daily production. We run glass down the tempered line, many various sizes. They were running about 35,000 square feet a shift on a 8 or 10-hour shift, and we saw immediate improvements to about 43,000 square feet. And last month, I've seen many days at 70,000 square feet. And that's all because we've taken that 15% downtime to virtually 0.8%. So that's really more than a 40% improvement. It's almost a 100% improvement if you look at the numbers as they are today. We've reduced production shifts. We were a 24/7 operation, and sure, the economy has impacted that, but we have actually in a 410 operation now and maintaining our schedules. Our sales are still like 5.7 mil a month. We're receiving profit sharing. Everyone last year, since the numbers have turned around in the company, received 47% above their annual salary and bonuses, from the janitor to the plant manager. Currently, last month, we just completed October and came in with a 35% bonus to each individual. And all that's reflected on expenses and efficiencies, and the bottom line is it's all about being able to keep equipment up and running and being efficient. Therefore, yes, the CMMS did play a part in that. The maintenance team did have a part in that, and we were able to contribute. So we're actually have become a profit center somewhat more so than a burden or overhead. So we're proud of the numbers that we are sharing and posting today. We are beginning to automate our inventory parts on reordering at min-max levels now that we actually have a supply room that we've put together, organized, and plugging data in and out on work orders and charting parts and costs. We've actually reduced the overtime for tempering maintenance department by 60%. And I shared with you 45%, it was actually 47 profit sharing last year. And we improved our safety, and at the time when I presented this presentation in Florida, we were at 900 days, and we're quickly approaching 950 or so. And we're on the track for 1,000 days is my immediate goal. Here's a chart as to what it really looked like when I started putting paper on the wall. One thing interesting about this chart, as we began to make improvements and reduce the downtime by, at this date, 95%, you'll see some very high peaks in the various months there. And what that is, in most cases, is the issue with robots. One of the biggest contributors I had to downtime were robots. Of course, it's a very technical 5-axis operation. Everything hinges off getting the piece off the rack and on the line. And when you're counting by minutes, fixing a robot sometimes takes you a little time to do. But we've since found the root cause of the problem because of the data we collect now. And we've actually went through last month with less than 50 minutes downtime across 2 robots over a 24-hour operation 5 days a week. Here's an example that eMaint and one of the reports I put out for the weekend showing my schedule plan work. This is reports communicated by email across probably 50 to 75 people. Very effective way to, this is actually schedule work. These are issues that were brought to me from production or that were found during PM and tracked, and work orders were issued, and we were put together estimated hours to repair, and that would be a weekend schedule for a crew of roughly 3 on the weekends. But I wanted to be able to take my reports, pull out certain specific fields that weren't necessary, or pull in the ones that I want to really reflect the data and push it up that had value to it. And I also wanted to be able to sort the report by departments and correlate things. So this particular program that I've written with the help of eMaint, or just simply changed the way the report pulls the data in, didn't take but a few minutes to really work out. This also gets printed as a hard copy and put out in the folder that goes with the technician. This is a 10-minute report. This is roughly a weekly report that I just snapshot of, a short period there of a week that really would include the whole month. This is the 10-hour report. There would probably be 230 work orders listed here in a month's time, where it was 500 when we initially started. But this is just an example, a snapshot of what the report would look like, telling us what the PM is planned for the weekend. This is actually a PM report here. I've just completed in the last month a daily report. This comes out at 9 o'clock every day with the hopes to communicate what happened on the previous shifts. This shows us that what the technician did on what asset and how much, whether it was what the failure code was. I have just recently implemented mean time between failure, and I was able to go into eMaint as my eMaint program, open up a field, and with the help of the staff at eMaint, within 24 hours we began collecting mean time between failure numbers, and I'll show you a little bit where we're at on that. In January, I put the mean time between failure numbers and started pulling the data out. And as you can see here, January and February, we were 3 hours, 4 hours we'd run without a failure. That's the average length of time between the failures, is what mean time between failure reflects. And you can see the continuous improvement. Sure, the first 5-6 months we're still getting our hands around the data and how to analyze it. And then we began to get a hold of it. In June, we were 5 hours. We could run on an average 5 hours before we had a trouble call. We are actually, in July, went to 7 hours, and then in August, with all the tools we put in place, we were at 20, and in October and September was like 29, and October finished up at 47.7 hours between failures. So that's all attributed to, number one, the data that's been generated by my technicians, the use of the CMMS tool, and the ease of retrieving the data out of the system for reporting purposes. But if you don't manage the system, You can put all the data you want to in there, but if the system is not managed and constantly reviewed, I review every work order. I close them daily. I know what was done. I do corrections, where they're needed. But in most cases, I just quickly scan through, close the work order so that my 9 o'clock report generates. But again, meantime between failure, this is kind of interesting. My boss asked me, he said, I heard about meantime between failure. Where are you at on that? And within an hour, I'd already generated a report out of eMaint because of how easy it was, and I'd already had plans to implement. Great minds think alike, as they say, and I anticipated what my boss was fixing to approach me with. But one of my technicians, actually my lead man, was sitting in my office one day looking at Plant Engineering magazine, and he started saying, wow, we do these things. We do these things. So I use every valuable resource for data, information, and put those tools in place. This is an example of an eMaint work order, and where I changed the field. You can see the red circle on the screen, the date of the last failure and the time. This is and then we put the failure code in above that. And anything you see on the screen, I can actually change the field name. I can remove, I can show or add anything I want to the screen. And this is pretty much what a typical work order will also print out and look like, with the exception it would remove the tabs at the top. So here's my secret and the key to success that I want to share and offer to every one of you. Don't wait to establish a baseline measurement. Start collecting the data. Outside my office, I have a wall full of charts. Good, bad, ugly, whatever they may be, they're out there. I'm showing everybody that we are measuring it. They're not, production not measuring me, I'm measuring myself, and I'm being proactive to production, and it's a very effective communication tool. You want to balance your checkbook, you want to watch, get your budget in line, and you can do that by the data you can now retrieve through your CMMS. And again, it's all about how well the data is entered and how well the system is managed. You can quantify the cost of downtime. You can come up with your key measurement. You can set your goals and strive to work toward them. You can make sure that data is set up correctly to support your desired reports. I can go in there and change it myself, and I'm able to get the report that I want. We can leverage the efficiencies, and it allows me to look at the machineries and what's available, where I'm at for uptime, where something may not be running, and when to capitalize on my preventive maintenance side and predictive maintenance data collection. And then communication, I don't think you can over-communicate. We tend to think that our customer is outside of the building, but we have to realize that we all are internal customers to one another. We become a supplier at some place. Our roles are ever-changing. So continuous communication, continuous monthly training, whatever you need, daily training, one-on-one, I encourage you to do that. Set goals, monitor the progress, and publish and sound your own horn and promote your success, but most of all, communicate. So what's next on our journey here at Cardinal Glass at Beaufort facility? Again, I want to push up the condition monitoring module. We have vibration analysis. I actually want to go real time on that, and we have a quote in place to begin real time data collection that comes back to my computer, and I can trend and watch things daily. When you've got about 15 high-speed fans, 600 horsepower, 6-foot diameter, turning 3,200 RPMs, you don't want them to fly apart. And trust me, we've had a weld failure across the whole corporation on 3 fans, and it's not a very good scene. Causes a lot of damage, creates a lot of downtime. It takes you approximately 2.5 shifts to get back up and running again. So we want to be able to prevent all that by condition monitoring and the tools we put in place. I'm trying to implement barcoding inventory. I did the initial setup on that. We've run into some issues ourselves internally, and I've just put it on the back burner, but I do have all inventory tied to a barcode. I want to eventually set up the purchasing module. We are collecting the data out of the crib and applying it to work orders so we can show and post our costs. And we want to continue to adjust our downtime goal, or really our uptime goal is a better way to say it. Sounds much better. Well, that's pretty much all the presentation that I have for the group today, and I appreciate everybody attending. I want to kind of take a minute and let you know about our Fall 2011 User Group Summit here. Our company, Cardinal Glass, is so gracious and proud to show off their facility and take you on a plant tour and show you our housekeeping and how technical technology that we use in the glass. In this particular plant, we do not make the glass, we temper the glass. And this user summit will be December 7th, 2011, Wednesday and Thursday, December 8th, 2-day session. And as you can see on the screen here, it will include the plant tour, and we're going to be able to have some workshops set up for you to use computers. If you have a laptop, bring your laptop. You'll be able to tie in Wi-Fi and connect to that and ask the experts with eMaint and review case studies and establish some networking, which is very critical in the maintenance industry, and I think we fail to do that. And we really fail to do it within our organization here as a whole across 29 plants. A lot of our processes are so common, and tools and spare parts are so common, and a tool like eMaint in particular, where it's web-based, you could go out, they could, with my authority and giving them all the necessary tools, passwords, they could come in and look at what spare parts I had. If one of our sister plants happened to be down in the middle of the night, they see a part that I have in my inventory, they call us, we get in a car or get a plane and we get it shipped. We have many times sent couriers to our Virginia plant and found us parts that we had here use across their plant and get them up and running in a few minutes time. So with that said, I want to turn this back over to Rona, and again, I appreciate everybody's participation. And if there's any way I can help any of you, you can either email me or you can call me at my phone here in my office, leave questions. I'll be more than happy to work with you. And if you have any questions about CMMS or ask for any consultant thoughts or some input, doesn't matter if it's eMaint or whatever CMMS you may have, feel free to call me at any time. With that said, Rona, I'm going to give it back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Boyd, for sharing all that and going in depth. I see that we're at the top of the hour, and I know that that's the time that we allotted. And so Boyd was gracious enough. I'm going to leave this up on the screen so you can jot down his email address and his phone number if you'd like to reach out directly. Also, when I end the session here in a minute, you will be getting a brief survey, and if you have specific questions that you'd like to ask of Boyd or someone at eMaint, please just feel free to do that. And again, thank you so much, Boyd, for putting this together and sharing your success. And we look forward to hearing more about it and seeing the plant tour in December.
Well, thank you, Rona, and you are part of this success, eMaint, and everyone here is, we're all one team together making this work, and I appreciate it.
Cool. Well, and thanks for reaching out to everybody else as well. All right. Thanks again, folks, for attending today, and be looking for an email about upcoming sessions. And again, as soon as I end the webinar, there'll be a survey, and if you have additional questions, because we are running up against the hour, please feel free to type them in there. Thank you so much, Boyd, and thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time. Take care.